Libraries are one of the oldest institutions of the world, spanning thousands of years. They are integral parts of the community, as well as a vital part of history. Today, we are here with a member of our own community and the director of the Livonia Public Library who joins us today. Thank you so much for joining us, Toni.
Toni Laporte, wonderful. Nice to have you here.
Thanks so much for
You've
having me here.
been around a long time doing this job, you know that?
I have.
But you're only 33 years old.
I know, that's the joy of being a librarian.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
go backwards in
Great.
age.
Love libraries.
So how did you first become involved in the Livonia Public Library?
Well, I began my career as the branch head of the Sandburg Library, and that was back in 1998.
Wow.
So I've been there a long time. And about 9 years ago, the director's position opened up, and I applied for it, and I got it.
Where's the library located?
The Robert and Janet Bennett Civic Center Library is on 5 Mile at Farmington.
Okay.
And then we have the Sandburg Library, which is 7 in Middle Belt. And we have a small little vest pocket library in the Senior Center that has large print books.
So do the different libraries in Livonia kind of have different functions for the city, or are they all operating kind of under the same system?
Pretty much under the same system. It's people like neighborhood libraries. They like to be able to walk to their library, and so we're pretty important in the community. And I think they would like to have more if they could.
Some libraries have mobile units that go out into the community.
Yes.
Does the Livonia Public Library have that, or did you at one time have that?
We have a van that we do outreach, and so if
nice.
you have trouble getting to the library, even if it's even just temporary, like you had a surgery and you can't get out, you can call us. We'll get some books together that you want us to get for you, and then we'll deliver them to your house.
Yeah. Make it user-friendly is what it sounds like. That's
It's
kind of
great.
neat. Especially during the pandemic. That must have been very important to do.
Yep, and we also had, during the pandemic, we started doing library takeout and curbside pickup.
Yeah, I'm familiar
We
with
did
that.
that, just curbside pickup for a long time before we opened back up. And people appreciated it and loved it so much.
Yeah.
I love how accessible, many public libraries have become. And a lot of people, just think libraries are just places where they can borrow books. But a lot of times they really serve the community and provide lots of resources for the people that live there. So what kind of resources does the Livonia Public Library provide for residents?
We have so many resources. With the advent of electronic resources, we've really been going to town purchasing different platforms for different items. We have Download Destination, which is Overdrive, and you can check out audiobooks and regular ebooks and magazines and movies. You can do it on your phone, you can do it on your tablet, on your computer. We have Hoopla, which is another platform for books. They have a lot of audiobooks, which is one of my favorites. Our newest platform is Canopy, and they have critically acclaimed movies and documentaries and award-winning foreign films. Then we have Tumble Books for Kids, Teen Book Cloud, and we also have, one of my favorite things, is a library of things. So if you come into the library, you
My
can
grandson and granddaughter, it sounds like they'd like this.
They would like it. We have puzzles and games. We have
yeah.
cake pans that look, like bunnies and things. We
Neat.
have tools.
my
We
God.
have a moon gazing kit. Just all sorts of.
Well, you're
different
doing
things.
whatever you can to welcome people into the library. Because at one time there was some talk that we would never see a library again, that they were going to become obsolete. What did you think of when they started saying that?
I just laugh because that will never happen. I mean, people love to read, people love books. People who don't use e-readers like to have a book in their hand, plus all the programming we do. We have children's story time. We have summer reading programs for kids, adults, teens, and tweens. We do special programs such as One City, One Book, which is a program we started last year, and it's a themed program, and we do different programming around it. There's just so much we do. I'm probably forgetting half of it.
Yeah,
And you mentioned how, people thought libraries are going to be obsolete. I mean, I was born during the digital age. I remember people in elementary school talking about how when you're an adult, no one's going to have a paper book. I still love paper books. Everyone still loves paper books. I still go to the library every now and then. What do you think so special about holding a physical book that you just can't get from anything else.
Yeah, my wife would agree with you too. She would say, you're going to tear this out of my dead cold fingers. You know, the Kindle sounds great to her and the computer sounds good, but like you said, holding that book for her, what makes it so special?
I don't know. I love, it brings back a lot of memories to me. Sometimes the book has a certain smell that reminds you of something. Sometimes it's not so good, but normally it's a good smell. And it's just, I don't know, it's just comforting to have that book.
Right.
You know? If
Well,
don't-
you know, the library too, it's kind of a church of really education to me. When you walk in there, you feel special in a library. You feel like you're overwhelmed by the knowledge. You just want to suck it all in. You know, you can't, but that's that feeling you walk into when you get into a library.
And the quiet and peacefulness. I mean, we have sections of the library that are loud with children, but we do have sections that are just quiet and peaceful, and you can just kind of gather your thoughts and sit there and read or whatever.
Yeah. There are a lot of people who grew up, and maybe you did too, JD. When the library, when you're loud, shh. That's why my wife said, I'm not going to be a librarian because they always telling us to be quiet. But there's a reason for that. You know, people need to concentrate on what they're doing.
Now I just put my earbuds in.
Yeah,
but-
well, that makes sense. See, that makes sense.
And whenever I'm in the library, I feel like the world is such a smaller place around me. I know you mentioned foreign language films that people can have access to. What does the Livonia Public Library have for kind of the international community in Livonia, real quick, before we take a break?
Well, we do have, like I mentioned, all of the e-resources that you can use for looking at foreign books. We don't have a foreign book collection per se. We have some foreign language titles, but there are certain libraries that have a complete collection of foreign language fiction, nonfiction.
Is it easier now with the electronic age that we have than it was for the card catalog age than when we had before growing up with
Yes,
the card catalog age?
I still have feelings for that card catalog, but it's so much easier with a computer, unless, of course, the computer's down.
Yeah, well, that's true. You need the paper.
Yes. In Livonia, we never had a card catalog. We always had a computer at the main library.
Fantastic.
And I am loving this conversation that we're having. Unfortunately, right now, we will have to take a quick break, but stay tuned as when we come back, we will talk more about the Livonia Public Library and also how it has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Stay tuned.
Mom, can I have $1? Yeah, it's right. I think my purse is upstairs on the bed. It's not here. Check the dining room. No. What about your sister's room? It's not there either. The upstairs closet? The downstairs closet? There are no more closets.
Moms everywhere are finding ways to keep kids active and healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov.
Do you like this top? It's so gay.
Really?
Yeah, it's totally gay.
You know, you really shouldn't say that.
Say what?
Well, say that something's gay when you mean it's bad. It's insulting. What if every time something was bad, everybody said, oh, that's so girl wearing a skirt as a top?
Oh, you are.
Those are cute jeans, though. When you say that's so gay, do you realize what you say? Knock it off.
Learning how to kickflip 6 stairs takes determination. So will getting into college. I've got what it takes. So do you.
You realize that 49 million Americans struggle with hunger? That's 1 out of every 6 Americans. These people are around us every day. They're our friends, they're our coworkers, their kids go to school with our kids. Sometimes we're not even aware that they're struggling. This problem is closer than you think. So is the solution.
play a role in ending hunger. Visit feedingamerica.org/hunger and find your local food bank.
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Jeremiah Brown.
And I'm Dennis Newbacher, sitting in for Chris Benson. Today we're here with the director of the Livonia Public Library, Toni Laporte. It's a joy to have you here. Interesting topics in the first section of our show. Continue with it now.
And so we left off the previous segment talking about how, the library has changed over the years. And
Big
during
time.
the break, we were talking about some sugar cube things that I'd never heard
Well,
of
when I was
before.
when I was a kid, and Toni knows this too, we'd go to the library to get our what was it, and what was
Like
in the
vaccinations, but they were-
vaccinations in a sugar cube. We'd go there, and for me, I had my fluoride treatments at Snow Library near O.L. Smith Junior High in Dearborn, near Telegraph in Princeton, and that's where I went to school as a kid, and that's where we got some of our things. So the library was like you were talking about in the first segment, really the focus of attention. And for years they were saying, oh no, we're not going to have any libraries anymore. Electronics is just going to take over, and you're going to do it all from home. Thank God that didn't happen.
And now many people are getting COVID tests from the public library. So in the past several years, how has the library really changed, and how has the COVID-19 pandemic affected that?
Well, it's affected us, because we had to close and we had to look for different things to do, different ways to reach out to our community. We started doing some story times online.
So you shut down completely.
We did in March of.
For how long? How long were you shut down?
We were shut down until I think it was November.
Wow.
Part of it was because we were getting work done on the front of our building, and we
worked out.
Yeah,
I
so
guess.
that worked out.
Yeah.
Okay, but so we did a lot of programming online. We started a telephone call-in to get a story read to you. So we started that program.
What an interesting idea.
Which is, so the librarians would get together and pick out books and jokes and facts, and each one would do a certain one, and then the child can call the number and listen.
Sure.
And, pick out what they wanted to listen to, what story or what joke. That was a lot
well,
of
not
fun.
only does the community have a passion for the library, and obviously they were missing it, so you had to offer opportunities. It's the librarians and the people that work in the library. Like my wife worked at the Plymouth District Library for many, many years, 20 years. They loved their jobs. There's something special about that job.
I know. We have people, like I've been here in Livonia for 24 years, and we have others that were here for 30 and 35 or more. People stay. They love what they do. They like the interaction with the public. And of course, they like the books. You get firsthand look at all the new books that come in.
Well, did you think you were going to be the director someday of a library? What did you start out to wanting to do? Would you want to be involved in the library right from the beginning in school, or what direction
I
did
always
you go?
loved to read, and I was the biggest bookworm of all. And I got my first library job. I grew up in this little River Rouge, and I got my first job as a page in that library. And
Sounds like
I
fun.
loved it. I could have worked there forever, but it was just a senior year job. So I went to college, and I started working at Eastern's library as a page. And then when I graduated, I got a job as a library aide in social sciences department. And then I got married, moved to Florida, and that's where I got my master's degree at the University of South Florida. And that's when I started, became a librarian.
You have to. Do you think to do this, you need to climb a ladder to get to that point?
Pretty much, yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, and sometimes it takes a long time to get up that ladder.
It's like learning all the students here that learn all the positions, all the opportunity to produce this show. So it makes them understand how to put this show all together. JD has done this, and I've done that as well. It makes it more special, and you understand it better, don't you?
It's important, I think, to do various jobs in the library, to know what other people do. And so you can understand when they're having problems, what they're going through. And, when patrons complain about certain things, you have an understanding of it.
Well, did they complain a lot about the COVID and how they
No,
operate?
I received a lot of thank you notes for staying. They said, thank you for staying safe. Thank you for doing what you do, because we were doing the curbside. We delivered to their trunk of their car. And everybody, we love the library so much.
Yeah, for folks that don't understand that, explain that. I mean, you had to call in or online, order your books, right? Order the videos or whatever you wanted, right? And they were there on the table, and your name was on the table underneath maybe an umbrella to prevent it from getting rain or snow on it, right? And then
in the
pull
beginning,
up-
we
yeah.
actually took them to their car,
Oh, wow.
checked them out to them, and
Okay.
took them to their car in their
Oh,
trunk.
wow.
Then eventually we had the table outside under a canopy.
Gotcha.
And then we started a table in the atrium before you walk in the library. So.
Well, you sure end up appreciating the library, knowing what you've gone through to get to where you are now.
And having access to the library, I'm sure, provided a great sense of comfort
Oh,
for a
yes.
lot of people, especially
So.
with the isolation that COVID brought for us so long. And I see that you brought with you some books from the Livonia Public Library, and I would love to have you talk about those.
Okay, this particular book right here is called Anxious People. This is for our program that we started last year. It's called One City, One Book. Last year's theme was identity, belonging, and inclusivity, and we did Arc of Justice by Kevin Boyle, which is about Detroit back in the 20s and racism that went on.
Interesting.
He came to our library and gave a talk at the end of our program, which was so wonderful.
Wow.
It was fabulous. So this year, we decided to use the theme of mental health and mindfulness because not after COVID, we're pretty much still going through COVID, but so many people were having issues with mental health and
There's been a lot of talk about that.
yeah, and anxiety. So we chose this book, and it's a poignant comedy about a crime that never really took place, and about people in their lives and how everybody has problems. So some of the programs we're doing along with that, it's going to start in August and run through October, and we're going to have some meditation programs for our patrons, some Tai Chi. Angela Hospice is doing a heart-centered mindfulness program.
Angela Hospice is just fabulous.
It's a great place. Yeah, we're going to have teen yoga and an outdoor movie with Inside Out, which
my
is a
goodness.
kids movie about a girl who has anxieties.
Oh, my goodness.
So it's a great program, and I hope that everybody will join in with us.
And these opportunities are great for community members to, really learn stuff and life skills that they might not have access to outside of the library. And I'm really loving this conversation.
Come back
guys.
and talk about it some more.
Unfortunately, we have another break. Stay tuned as we will continue talking about the Livonia Public Library and all that it has to offer.
With the director from the Livonia Public Library, Toni Laporte. We'll be right back.
Sounds like you could use some Van Gogurt. It's fortified with arts-rich nutrients to improve your math and reading skills. Catch!
Van Gogurt, thanks. So what's the deal with your ear?
Always with the ear, huh?
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit AmericansForTheArts.org.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Marie, you have prediabetes.
Prediabetes? I don't have time to eat right or exercise. I'm a busy mom.
Oh, you're a busy mom.
Yeah.
This is great news. Busy moms never get prediabetes.
Wait, what?
Let me just... Yeah, this is all the people at risk for prediabetes, and way over here, busy moms. No?
Welcome back to Celebrate Michigan. I'm Jeremiah Brown.
And I'm Dennis Newbacher, sitting in for Chris Benson. We're back in the studio with Toni Laporte. She is the director of the Livonia Public Library, and she's going to talk a little bit more about some of the books that they offer through the library, some of the programs, and also what you think the future is for the Livonia Public Library.
And you mentioned several ebook resources that the library has to offer as well.
Right. We have a lot of e-book resources, but we also have resources for people looking for jobs. There's something called Brain Fuse Job Now, and if you go to our website, you can do it at home. It's an online service that will help you create a resume and put together a resume. They will even do one-on-one interviews with people to help them get a job.
That's really a good idea.
I know, it's fabulous.
Yeah. How about for finances, too? If somebody wants to learn more about finances, do you offer programs in finance?
We do. We have a lot of programs in the library or Zoom programs where, a financial planner or person will come in and talk about different things, wealth management or life management. Right now, we are giving out little bags for kids about how finances can help, how kids can learn about finances.
I mean, checkbooks are a thing of the past, I know. But for you and me, we still, I think, probably go to the register and fill out the checkbook.
I balance mine.
I do too. I do too. I'm real proud of that. But not everybody knows how to do that. Not everybody knows how to fill out an application for a job, right?
Right.
There are lots of things and now the jobs available are unbelievable.
Right.
The doors are open. You got to know how to go through the door, though.
Yep.
This is a great resource.
And it is a fabulous resource. We have something called Universal Class. So if you want to take classes in psychology or self-help or writing skills, you can take little mini courses on your computer. And then we have Get Set Up, which is if you're an older adult looking for technology help, you can go there and take little mini classes and learn how to use your Kindle or use your computer. And Niche Academy is something else we have that will teach you how to do like Microsoft Office and those kind of programs online.
These are absolutely wonderful programs that you guys offer for people.
I know.
Well, it's evolving. If you didn't evolve, what would happen? I guess you could put yourself out of business, right?
Yeah, you have to. You have to keep updating.
Well, what do you think the future is then for the library? I'm very curious. My wife asked that same question. What do you think's going to happen to the library?
Well, I think we're just going to keep getting better. And when new things come out, we're going to get them and we're going to help people manage them and teach them. And
what drives that? Is it the people who come into the library or the librarians, or is it kind of a combination of everybody working together on that?
It is a combination. People do ask us for certain things, and the librarian will say, well, we don't have that now, but we'll talk about it. And we do. We get together for a meeting, we discuss it, and it's like, oh, that sounds fabulous. Let's try it.
Well, you have a budget, don't you?
Oh, yes.
And if you have to meet the budget.
Yes.
If you don't meet the budget, I shouldn't say that. To get something in, if you don't have it in the budget, can you somehow request that to acquire that information somehow along the way?
Well, the Friends of the Library are a fabulous group, and they give us money. They have book sales 3 times a year, and they make a lot of money at these sales, and then they give us a check. Right. So a lot of times, we can supplement our budget with that money.
Well, so if you come to the library, and if you're not going to check out something, if you want to find a used book, or a used tape, can you come to the library and find those things there?
Yes, we have a little bookstore. It's adorable.
Oh, nice.
And it's run by the Friends, all volunteers, and they have lots of books, lots of carts, and we have a big atrium full of books, and some of them you can take for free. Some of them are 10 cents. So
I hate to ask this because it really doesn't close, because you're 24 hours electronically. But when does the doors physically open at the library?
Currently, our hours are 10 in the morning until 8 p.m. on Monday through Thursday. Okay. And then Friday and Saturday, we're 10 until 5, and then Sunday, 1 to 5.
That's great. I see people, I don't mean to keep interrupting JD. He's a wonderful young man. He's doing great. He's a great co-host. But there are people who come in, I see all the time, to want to study in the library, too. It's quiet, and all the resources are there. Is that what you're seeing, too?
Yes, and we're building 3 new study rooms because we really didn't have study rooms, and everybody wants them so they can go in with a group and work on a project together. So this year we're going to be putting up 3 study rooms.
Will those be first come, first serve, or reservation? Okay.
First come, yeah. And, we're not sure. We're going to do it that way to start, but we'll see what happens. We don't want fisticuffs or anything.
No.
And with all these wonderful, absolutely wonderful programs, where can people find more information, not just about the library, but also how to be involved with you guys too?
Well, on our website, livonialibrary.info, we have all the information you need. And
Should come up on screen. There it is right there.
There you go.
Livonia Library info.
Yeah. And I forgot to mention, we're doing a seed library.
Okay.
People can come in and get seeds for free, vegetable, plants, fruit, and we're asking them if they could to harvest them and then bring them back. So they will be replenished all through the year. So everybody's
on itself.
Everybody's excited about this program. It's a good one.
What's in your library, just out of curiosity? We only have 1 minute left. What's in your library? What books do you like?
Oh,
Did I put you on the spot?
I like, I'm big into, like when I watch TV, I like British police procedurals. So I read a lot
Sergeant
of those
Foyle.
too. There you go.
Like Foyle.
So I read a lot of mysteries and I like fiction. I'm not big in nonfiction because I'm living nonfiction. So I like to read fiction and get away
Escape.
from it all.
Kind of an escape, I guess, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's very good. It's wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you.
And just so you know, too, my name's Dennis Newbacher. I'm one of the co-hosts, the guest co-host. But this young man right here, this is his first show to host Celebrate Michigan. So Jeremiah Brown, JD, thank you so much. You're outstanding. We thank you for looking in on Celebrate Michigan, and thank Toni Laporte from the Livonia Public Library. We'll see you next time on Celebrate Michigan with Jeremiah Brown.